Hi everybody, you're watching a tutorial on how to begin in Simutrans Extended. I'm glad that you are interested in watching this and possibly learning how to play Simutrans, which is kind of a complicated game, so I'm hoping to show you how to start with a basic rail line and solve some of the little quirks and bugs that are in Simutrans Extended. After all, it is a free software project, so there's not really a large team working on updating bugs and such, but a lot of these can be dealt with easily. I've figured it out over the years. So let's just get right in. We're going to be connecting this town, Bolton Waite, with Aidenfield. So it's a pretty short distance. This should be a great start for our rail line. That will get us lots of passengers quickly. It's a nice short distance. So let's get right in. So I've already constructed this little spur of rail track right here. I think this is where we're going to start with our first station right here. So let me show you how we're going to do this. So I've already built this. We want to construct more. We want to delete this road in the middle, this one right here. This is a great opportunity to delete a road and replace it with rail, because see how there's only one layer of buildings on each side? To delete a road, it cannot be connected to a building. So like over here, like if we tried to delete this road, we can't, because it is the only piece of road that connects this building. So we'd have to delete this building, then delete this road. And we want to delete as few buildings as possible. Now, that's why we want to delete this road here, because these buildings are connected to this side and this side. So we can delete this one, and we will not have to delete any buildings because they will still have a piece of road to be connected to. Now let's try to delete this. Oh, it's not going to let us. It says we cannot delete a public right-of-way. Now this is a bug that we can solve right here. Obviously these buildings here are still connected to this piece of road, so we should easily be able to delete this, but we can't. So here's how we solve this. We just save the game. Let's call this new, save, and then load the game, reload the game. And now we should be able to delete it. See? We'll put some track here. We are using the cheapest track, the wrought iron track. That is, we do not need to use the heavier tracks at this time. We're just going to start off with the cheapest track. We're going to use the cheapest train locomotive that we can use. We don't need anything fancy for right now. All we're trying to do is just build a basic line. Later on in the game, we can upgrade the tracks in our trains so they can go much faster. So we're going to go here. We're just going to keep going out. Now here's something we want. When it comes to raising and lowering land, see, we're going to have to do this. We're up here. You can see the land height in this corner right here. So if we hover our mouse right there, it says that we're on level 1, and we're going to have to go down to level 0 over here. And the best way to do this is if there's like a perfect slope, like right here. See, we can just easily build a track right there, but we cannot do it if there's this, I don't know what to call this weird concave slope where it changes directions. And that's what we're probably gonna have right here, a situation like that. Now, I think that if we delete this house, ooh, I thought it was gonna be a perfect slope, but it's not. So here's what we'll do. We will delete this building, and then we'll just lower the land one time right here. See how much that is? It's $2,000, which is actually a bit. So you want to do that as few times as possible, just minimally, only when it's absolutely necessary. Build our track right there. We'll have to deal with this cluster of buildings right here. Obviously, we want to avoid deleting buildings whenever possible, but sometimes, of course, it's absolutely necessary. Like, it's necessary here because there's going to be a big payoff when we can connect the line further into the city. So we'll probably just delete these buildings right here. You not obviously, but you want to start off with deleting these brown houses first, these kind of hovels. They're the cheapest to delete, and then build land over. You want to avoid deleting these nicer buildings right here, because the price to build the land value of them is higher, so it will cost more to build track over their footprint. So we'll just go that way. When building tracks, you want to try to get as big of curves and straight and long straightaway big of curves as possible so the train can maintain a high speed. We want to kind of go up and kind of survey our approach to this city. What I like to do is I like to go into the city that I want to connect to, and then build a track, find the perfect place for the station first, and then build the track to it. So we kind of have a tricky situation here because there are not really any good opportunities to delete roads to replace with tracks. So we're probably going to have to delete some buildings because we want to, what's important is you want to be as close to the main city center node as possible. You also want to be close to attractions like this cricket field, but you also want to have a exit from the city because we want to keep the track going out to maybe connect to this city down here. Though, of course, it doesn't really look like there's a lot of good opportunities, so maybe we don't have to worry about finding a good exit for the track right now. So we'll just pick any spot in here. Maybe what we can do is I'm just going to go with, let's just delete these roads right here. Build some track, and maybe we'll just come over one and then just build straight out. Not the cleanest station entrance I've ever made, but it'll have to do for now. All right, so we have a place that we want to build our new station. We have the options of using the wooden platform and the wooden platform with overroof. The wooden platform is much cheaper than the roof one, but the thing is this can hold 0 passengers. So that means when there's a train coming to the station, there will be no place for people to wait, so no one can actually use the station. Which is inaccurate to real life. There's plenty of stations that have just a platform and people wait on them. But so we're going to have to use the one with the roof. Our other option is to build just the platform and then build a station building. But since that would require us to, well, maybe we can just delete that building. Okay. So let's just go with that. We'll do 1, 2, 3. We will build the nice. We have the option for a cheap station building, which has 50 passenger capacity, and then the stone station building, which has 85 passengers. So since this video is gonna be all about saving money, doing things as economically as possible, we'll just go with that. All right. So then we can come out, and we need to find a way to get around this road. Now, one thing that I learned not too long ago was that you can actually cross diagonal roads. So all you have to do is you just bring the track up to the point that you want to cross, and then you have to hold control and then go 1, 2. You cannot do it. You cannot do it like this. You have to have the track literally right at the edge of the road, and you have to go 1 tile at a time. So like 2 clicks. Okay. Then we'll go down here. Let's see. How do we want to do this? We could build a bridge right there. That'd be a good idea. We can use the cheapest bridge, or one of the cheapest bridges. This bridge right here has a speed limit of 70 miles an hour, or 70 kilometers an hour, and it can hold up to 200 tons. So that's something to consider when you're later in the game and you're building longer trains and maybe freight trains. There is a weight capacity. But since we're just going to be using a short train at first, this is the perfect kind of bridge for us. It's very cheap. Okay, so we have our first line created. Now let's build some stations in the city. So let's start off with a station right there. And then we can probably build another station or even 2 in this area. Because this is one of the interesting things that Simutrans has is with the current timeline that you're on, it has settings for what or how people commuted at that time. So in 1850, nobody had cars. Most people were using horses and buggies, I guess. So people will not drive to the station. So there has to be lots of stations close to where the people are. So my rule is like every 8 tiles, which is a kilometer, you can build another station. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So maybe we can build a station right here to make it convenient, because we're in a very populated area right over here. We can make it convenient for these people around here to use the station. And then we can probably build another station right over here. So there we have 3 stations, 3 opportunities for people to get on and off the train. Obviously, trains have to slow down and stop to use the station, so it makes the commute longer for people traveling between the two cities, but that's fine. People can wait. So what we want to do is now we want to find a perfect place to put our depot so we can build a new train. And one thing that is very important to consider early on in the game is we're not going to be using the regular signals. We're only going to be using this one train staff cabinet. Now what this means is when a train passes the staff cabinet, it reserves the whole line in front of it. So I'll show you what I mean. So what we want to do is we want to look for other cities that we're going to want to connect to. So there's not many around here. I guess we want to connect to this city eventually, Kelton. And that is in this direction. And I'm going to do my best to explain this, but if we want to connect our main city, Bolton Waite, to Aidenfield and Kelton, we need to build our depot in the middle of them. So our depot should be on this side of the tracks because the tracks to the new city are going to be going this way. And that's very important because of the way that the staff cabinet works. So we will go one more tile. And the reason that we're doing this is because railway depots are very expensive. They're $26,000. That is like an eighth of our current money that we have right now. So it's very important that we only build one, and we only need one for as long as possible. So we build it right there. Staff cabinet goes this way. Drag the mouse in the direction that you want it to go. So if we drag the mouse the other way, see how it switches ends? That way the train that is going this direction sees it, but the train is not going to be going that direction. It's only be going this direction when it exits the depot. And the staff cabinet has to be on... Did I do that right? Sorry. Huh. Okay, well, let's see if that works. So the way that the staff cabinet works is once the train should only pass it one time, and that's going to be when it exits the depot. So it's going to exit the depot. It's going to pass this. It's going to pass the staff cabinet, which says that you have complete control of all the tracks ahead of you. It's not. It should never pass the staff cabinet again. Like it shouldn't go here. It shouldn't go here. It should only go here. So it's only going to pass it one time. So let's build a train. Okay, so I made a mistake. All of these trains are too heavy for the current track. Which is kind of interesting that it's even available when none of the trains can even use it. So we'll just have to upgrade it. This is 7 tons, so we'll just have to upgrade it to 9 tons. Not too big of a deal. It's not that expensive. So see, all you have to do is just drag it over and it replaces it. Okay, good. We have some trains available. So let's go over the rest of the line with it. One thing you can do is you can click once, go to the end, click again, and it builds it. Click once, builds it. Click once, builds it. You should be careful with this because sometimes it has this weird thing where it will build a new line, like it'll branch off or something. So just try to do it on only straightaways. So there we go. Okay, so let's build a train. Let's see, what are our options? What we want to do is we want to pick a train that has a high power tractive force. So you can see at the bottom of the stats it says power/tractive force. That one's 83, that one's 66, 85. There's not a lot of things you need to consider, or I should say that I don't really understand all of this too well. There's lots of stats. One thing that's important is your train should be powerful. If it has to go up hills, there's only one hill. It's not even a hill, it's just like a 1 grade separation. So we will just pick this train. Actually, let's pick this train. Because it is so cheap, it's only 6,000, and these are all 18,000, 15,000. Let's go with this one. You can see that it has a high power. It has a max speed of 80 kilometers an hour, which is really good. It probably won't ever reach that on our short line, so we don't really need to consider that max speed. So yeah, let's pick that. And then let's go to our passenger carriages. We're going to be making a passenger train. Obviously. Now, creating a passenger train, you're going to want to... We have the options for different classes. So most of the people at this time, in the 1850s, they're going to be wanting to use as cheap of a service as possible. So we have the option here for these open carriages, 4th class, which is the class rating of very low. And most people are going to be wanting to use that. So we'll add some. We'll maybe do, actually that's not necessary, 250. That's good for now. We have to consider how many station tiles it takes up. We have 2. I have built all of our stations as 3 tiles, which is normally how I start off with. So we have a bunch of very low, but also there's people that will want to use the higher classes, like medium and high, which would be like so right now this is like 4th class, and then there's 3rd class, 2nd class, and 1st class. So we're going to build 2nd class and 1st class. So we have the option for a medium class, this one right here, 1, 2. There are 24 passengers each, so I think that's enough for now. And then we'll do 1 high class, and then the train always has to end on a car that has this solid green bar. You can see these are green and then yellow. That means that it's expecting another carriage to be connected to the back of it. So we want one that's green, which is a brake carriage. Every train needs a brake carriage, so we'll just do this one as high class. Okay, great. Now, schedule. Let me do that again. We'll go to schedule. We'll add stop. 1. This is our first station we're going to start off with. 2, 3, and 4. And then what we're going to do is we're going to mirror the schedule. So it's just going to go in the opposite direction once it gets to this last station. So it's really simple. Promote to line 1. All right, and then we can start. So the trains are really slow in the beginning. So what we're going to do is we're going to want to speed it up, and you can do that with this button up here, fast forward. But I don't really like this button that much. What I like to do is I like to use the greater than or less than symbols on your keyboard, and if you press the greater one of them, the one that's pointing to the right, or sorry, the one that's pointing to the right, then you hold it down, and you can see over in the corner it says T equals, and then as you press that, it increases, which means the time is speeding up. And I like to do this because when you press the fast forward, it gets all jumpy and you can't really see what's going on. But when you hold down the symbol key, it goes a lot faster, but you can still see everything that's happening clearly. So you can see our trains going back and forth. Up here is the line management button. We'll click on it. We can see our train. There it is. You can see who's riding it. It changes, of course, as it stops at each station. So it's doing all right. We can follow it. It's just going back and forth. We're not getting a whole lot of passengers because the only areas that we're serving are this area around the station and these 3 areas in here. So what we can do is maybe we want to build another station that is closer to the main city, and I think that we can do that. It will be a little bit expensive, but we will get a lot more passengers because this area over here is very dense. So we'll want to use the same track type as we used before, and we're just going to want to continue on to downtown. So how should we do this? We can delete this one right here. Maybe we'll go forward, delete that, like that. Because we need at least one height increase to cross the river. Now, right now, it's going to seem like we cannot cross the river like this. That's because this river is considered a public right-of-way. So if you're on a multiplayer game, then anybody can use it. And some ships cannot use the river if there's only a single height increase. It requires a double height increase to cross. Let me show you, give you a better example. Let me find a good spot for this. Okay, so right here, like this is how it needs to be crossed. You cannot go like this. But that's a problem for us because we have this perfect spot to cross right here where it's just a slope, we should be able to just build a bridge between it, but there is a way to solve this. So we go to water transportation tool. We want to go to the tugboat canal. You want to hold control and drag over it. It builds a canal for very cheap. And now we can cross it easily. So let's get our cheap bridge. Boom. And because if we had a double height, so if we had a track that was going at an extreme slope, let me see if there's an example over here. Like right here, that's the steep slope. Our train is, one of the early trains built, so it doesn't have a lot of traction power, so it might even get stuck trying to go up a double slope, which we do not want. Okay, so there's that. And where we want to build our station, we have a nice area right here that's pretty empty. We'll have to delete a couple buildings to get there, but that's fine. So let's delete this building, and now we put our track there. How do we want to connect there? We can probably just delete these buildings right here. We can even delete this. That's nice. Another thing that you can do is you can cross this road at an angle. So you can drag the track onto there and then drag it again. It looks weird, but I guess they haven't created a graphic for this yet. I don't know how they would do that, but it's possible. The train can easily drive over it. Okay, so let's build a new station right here. 1, 2, 3. Now we want to add this station to our line's schedule. So we'll go to Edit Line. Here is station number 1, but we want this station to come before that. So we need to go to Insert, make sure that you're highlighted on the first station, then boom, and there it is. Now that is our first station. And we'll wait for the train to come over. Oh, it says cannot find a route. Interesting. I wonder why that is. So this is a common problem. So one thing that you want to try and do is just go over your lines again. Oh, it worked. I think it's a bug. So whenever that message pops up, what you want to look for is pieces of track that are disconnected. So there will be like a little end of rail line buffer thing right here, which means the two tracks aren't connected, but sometimes it doesn't show that, and you just have to go over it with the track tool again to make sure they're connected. So it looks like that's all set. We can press B, the B button, and it shows in red what tracks are reserved by the train. So all of this is reserved, which means the train can go full speed. If you send the train out and it does not have this staff cabinet signal, and you just send it out with no signals, then it will go at the drive by sight speed, which means the train will only go as fast as the driver can see in front of him, which is like 35 kilometers an hour, which obviously isn't very fast. So when we have the whole line reserved, that's what the staff cabinet says. It says to the train, you own this entire line in front of you. It means there's no other train on there, and the train can go as fast as it can. So there, we have our first line. Now let's start thinking about expansion and what we can do to make more money on this train network.